recently we were able, because of the COVID-19 situation, we were able to carry our entire university online. So we have some experience with teaching remotely, teaching online, that kind of thing. I would also like to acknowledge Dr. Leroy Hill. He's my colleague from the University of the Southern Caribbean. He's the Dean of Distance Education, and he's in the chat room there trying to answer as much of your questions as possible. All right, so I just want to say again, hello, Dr. Hill. And something that he thinks I don't know is that today is his birthday, and he has still volunteered to give up his time. So I'm very grateful for that. All right, so in case you want to know any more about me, I put up my LinkedIn profile link there. And so you could always look at that later on. You could join me on LinkedIn so we could keep sharing ideas, networking, and so on. And I have decided to create what is called We Can EduTech. And the whole idea here is that, you know, educational technology could be somewhat intimidating for some. And I just want you all to know we can do it together. It's much easier than you think. And hopefully after this session, you'll be enthused and motivated to learn more about educational technology in education. All right, moving forward, just want to say that I don't work at Zoom or Google. I just think that they have fantastic products that we can use in education. But if anybody from Zoom and Google is listening, it doesn't mean that I'm not interested. So I'm just saying that out there. All right. Now, at the end of this session, I'll be sharing the slides that I'm using right now. So whatever is on these slides, you all will be getting. Also, when I end the session, I will be, we would have a recording there. And I will share that recording with you all. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But so these slides that I'm doing right now, I'm sharing that with you. And we will also be sharing the recording as well. All right, so sometimes I get carried away when I start these presentations and stuff, and I keep on speaking and all of that, and I forget to record. So moving forward, I'm going to start recording the session. So let's know that I'll be recording everything that I'm doing from hence on. So I'm just going to put the recording on.
Hi, Jason. I asked you, I already started it.
Okay, good. So
but I've forgotten, yeah. So I can start.
Yeah, that's why I always put the slide in from now on so I know to start recording. But thanks, Dr. Hill, thanks. All right, so, okay, we're going to be talking a lot about these functions and so on. But I just wanted to share this quickly with you all, and we'll build on it as we go along. But as you can see, join audio there. You can click on that button to turn on and off your audio. Similarly, for the video, you could turn on and off your video. And if you need to say anything in the chat room and stuff, you could click on chat and talk there. But I will be speaking a lot more about these functions. Now, if you're not seeing those functions coming up on your screen, you just need to take your cursor and just point to the bottom of the screen, and these controls should come up. So for those of you, although I'm seeing a lot of activity already in the chat room, so a lot of you know how to use the chat room, so that's great. But so just take your mouse, your cursor, sorry, bring it to the bottom of the screen, and you'll see these options where you can turn on and off your mic, turn on and off your video, and you can enter the chat room. All right. This is supposed to be a very interactive session where we go nice and slow. So if you all have any questions along the way, you can put the questions in the chat room, or you can access using your mic. All right. So I'm seeing that Kathy Ann Sharma is raising her hand. Kathy Ann, do you have a question? You could unmute your mic and ask.
There's never enough.
Okay, well, if you have a question, you could put it in the chat room and Dr. Hill will answer it there as well. All right, so I'm going to continue now. All right, now if for some reason you all, while moving around on your screen and stuff, you see the Zoom window disappears, then you all can just look for a window looking something like this. And when you put your mouse on it, you should see a button saying with a green arrow. You could click on that to maximize your Zoom window once again. All right, so that's just something like if you're moving around your screen, it might minimize into this form. You could just double click on it or click that green arrow that I just talked about, and it will open, reopen into its full screen. All right, so tips. Again, we want all the mics muted because that background noise could be very distracting. So only unmute the mic if you have a question or some comment or something. Otherwise, you have the other option, you can put it in the chat room as well. As well as no video, don't turn your video on, okay? Video eats up a lot of what we call bandwidth. All right? So it eats up a lot of, so you see, so this is what I'm saying. So please guys, when you are joining, mute the mics. All right? And so turn off your videos, turn off your mics. All right, so the Zoom session, or Zoom, you're going to be using Zoom and Google Drive. And you're going to be using Zoom to have synchronous sessions and office hours with your students. And what that means is that if you are, like just like how you had a face-to-face session in the classroom, you could mimic that using Zoom with your students. Also, you could create office hours where they come in and they can speak to you if they have any problems and so on. And Google Drive gives another affordance. Google Drive allows you to share resources with your students and so on. So these are the two things that we're going to be using in tandem to reach out to your students and teach them remotely. All right, so at the end of the session, you all will be able to do a little bit of things. First of all, with Zoom, you would have created a Zoom account. You'll be able to schedule meetings. You'll be able to use the chat. You'll be able to record, share a screen, use a whiteboard, which we'll talk about a lot. And then you'll be able to also learn how to break up your class into small groups while using Zoom. So there's a lot of affordances in Zoom that we can use in education to reach and meet our learning outcomes. And then after that, we're going to take a little 2-minute break, and then we're going to use Google Drive and show you how to share and create folders, share resources, and so on. All right, so the first thing we're going to be talking about is how do you create this Zoom account? So I know you all are on Zoom right now, but that could be just because you're using a link. I just want to make sure that everyone is on board on how to create a Zoom account. Now, you can try it as I speak along the way, but as I said before, I'm recording this session. So you all can actually look at the recording afterwards and follow and create your accounts and whatever you miss. Now is just the time to grasp the main concepts and ask any questions along the way. Also, because we're in Zoom right now, if you start creating a Zoom account and you go into that Zoom account, you most likely will get bumped off from this. So just follow the instructions. You could do some of it along the side, but remember, I'm sharing this recording with you guys. All right, so the first thing is that there's the regular Zoom account, which is free and very useful. And then there's the pro account. So right now I'm using a pro account. Now there are some differences between the regular account and the pro account. First of all, with the regular account, you will be only able to have a maximum of 100 participants in your class. While in the pro account, you have a maximum of 300. And that's actually a great thing because right now I'm looking at the number of participants in this class, and it has already reached 240. All right, so a regular account would not have worked here. The other thing about a regular account is that you can only do a session that is 40 minutes long. That's the maximum. When it's coming closer to that 40 minutes, you're going to get a message from Zoom saying, listen, your time is coming to an end, you need to stop. All right, while with the pro account, we could go as long as we want. All right. With the regular account, there's something you don't have, it doesn't keep records, while the pro account does. And what records are is that you can use records to mark attendance, all right? Now, the thing is that there are ways in which you can use this regular account you can work around these limitations. The 100 participant limitation, well, that's something you can't really work around, but I'm hoping that most of you don't have a class that contains more than 100 students. The 40 minutes time, that could be, you could work around that by doing, listen, like I know some teachers, they do a 40-minute session, then they tell their class, listen, let's go for a 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back and do a new session. So that's one way you could work around that if you have, let's say, an hour and a half class or something. All right. The other thing is that when you have the pro account, Zoom records the number of people who attended the Zoom session and so on. But in the regular account, it doesn't. But what you could do is that you could look at your list of participants and have an idea how many have joined the session and so on. So you could take attendance from looking at the participants window. All right. So first of all, you have to go to the Zoom site. So that's if you open, like, let's say Google Chrome web browser and you just type in zoom.us, you will be able to go to this this site here. And
performance of quality from Chelsea here.
All right, and then you click on the button at the top right there where it says sign up. It's free. And you can use that button there to sign up for your account. So that's where, so again, just to repeat in case you all missed that, you're going to open a browser, type in zoom.us in it, and then you're going to click on sign up. It's free. And then you'll go to this page where you are starting to sign up for your account. Now, the first thing it says there is your work email address. Now, if you have a work email address, then that's fantastic. You can put it there. What's happening is that because of these COVID-19 situation with the restrictions and so on, Zoom has actually removed some of the limits for schools. All right. So if you have a work email address, you know, you could apply to, you could talk to Zoom to see if they could remove those limited restrictions, at least until the pandemic is over. All right. Now, if you don't have a work email address, that's fine. Just put your normal email address. I tried doing it this morning and it worked very well with my personal Gmail account. So I just put my Gmail address in there and I click sign up. Now, if for some reason you start getting an error message, well, then you could also click this button at the bottom, sign in with Google. And then you could use Google to authenticate and create your Zoom account. All right, but I've tried it up to this morning. I was working, just enter your regular email address and click sign up. Now, when you click sign up, then it's going to give you a message. We've sent an email to whatever email address you had entered in that screen before. So for me, I entered weekendedutech@gmail.com. So it sent me an email to that Gmail account. So what you do is that you will go to your email inbox and you will see a message from Zoom like this. Hello, and whatever email address you are given them, welcome to Zoom. And it's going to ask you to activate the account. All right, so when you click activate your account, it's then going to open up this window where your account has been activated, but now you need to give all the details for your account. So you're going to fill out your first name, your last name, and a password, and confirm the password. When you fill out that information, you click on continue. All right, so again, I'm moving at a certain pace here because really and truly, we're going to give you all a recording and you can use that recording to set up your account and so on. All right. Okay, so again, people, I urge you all to mute all mics because we have a very big class today, and the more mics that are on, the harder it's going to be for the rest of people to hear. So please mute as we go along. All right, so the next page you'll get here is you can invite your colleagues. So if you, like for instance, at a school level, you could probably talk to your school IT and they could probably work on this. But if not, just click on I'm not a robot, and then you could click on skip this step. And when you do that, then you would have created your account. All right, so you have your email, you have your username, your password, and so on. Okay, so right now, all we have done is that we have created our Zoom account. That's what this step is about. So I'm going to pause for a second and find out if anybody has any questions or anything. So you all can ask the questions now in the chat room, or you can unmute your mic and ask any questions that we have done so far. All right, so I am not seeing, oh, okay, I see a message coming. Let me see. Okay, so some people are giving names and so on. Oh, what happens when we pass 300 participants? Well, that's the limit. So it means that those people, like the 301 person, will not be able to enter the Zoom session. All right, there are things called Zoom webinars where it can host a lot of much more people. Have you can hold unlimited number of participants if you use a Zoom webinar. All right, but so far we want to to just use this Zoom conference session. When you say 40 minutes limit, is that for the day? No, that's just for that one session. So as I was saying, like what some teachers do is that they do a 40-minute session, they end the session, and then they immediately, after 5 minutes, start a new session. So you have a next 40 minutes again. The only difference is, as I said, with the pro account, you are allowed a continuous session, right? With the regular account, you only have 40 minutes continuously, and then you have to stop and go back in. So that's a little difference there. All right. So I think, what is the cost of the pro version? Well, you could go to their site and they have, if you just watch the screen, there's plans and pricing there. You could, what happened is that, and I will tell you often, is that talk to Zoom. The sales people, they're very open. You know, they have those prices online there, but speak to them. And depending on what kind of organization you're from, the size of the organization and so on, you might be able to work with them and get a personalized price plan to suit your needs. So that's something you can look into. All right, so I think that's it for now. Let's carry on. So right now we have so where's just now I see some more questions coming. Where is the option for attendance taken? That is exclusively for the pro account, and I won't be able to cover that today. We could probably do something afterwards, but you have to go into if you have a pro account, you go into the record section of it, and there you can see the attendance. But right now, I could actually share a video with you afterwards if you like about how to do that. I've created for something else. All right. Okay, so I am going to go back to the slides here now. And what we have done so far is that we have created the Zoom account. But now we want to download the Zoom client, because I like to work through the Zoom client. You can work through the Zoom website, but I like to work through the client. So I'll show you my workflow and see if that works for you. All right, so we go back to the Zoom site. So there's, again, if you type in zoom.us in your web browser, you go to the Zoom homepage. And if you hover above the word resources, you're going to see some options coming up. And one of the options is to download the Zoom client. And when you click on download Zoom client, so again, for those of you who may have missed it, you return to the Zoom homepage. You type in zoom.us in Google Chrome web browser. And when you go to the Zoom homepage, you click on resources. There you see the option, download Zoom client. You click on that. All right. Then you go to this page and you just click on download, and that will download the Zoom client for you. All right. Now, where is it? Where is the Zoom client? Now, if you are a Mac user like I am, it goes into the applications folder. So you could access it if you're a Mac user, iOS user, Apple user. You could access it from your applications folder or from your Launchpad. If you are using a Windows computer, well, then you want to access it, just like how you'll access your other programs like Microsoft Word and so on. You just need to go and do a search for it, and it's going to come up. All right. And you can even create a shortcut if you know how to do it on your window. Right. So when you click on your Zoom client for the first time, you're going to see this window. And it says join a meeting or sign in. You're going to click on the sign in button. And when you click on the sign in button, it's going to ask you, what's your email? What's your password? So the email would have been the email that you registered your Zoom account with that we did before. And then you're going to click on the password. All right. And you're going to write in the password that you created when you signed up for Zoom. So again, the email is the email that you use when you signed up for Zoom. Password is the password you created. And then you click sign in. If for some reason this is not working on this side, and it should, you can also sign in using Google. All right. But I think from the stuff that I showed you before, this should work. All right. Right. Now, when you sign in, the Zoom client is going to open. This is the interface of the Zoom client. Now, at the very top, you see home, chat, meetings, contacts. These are the different tabs in the Zoom client. And when you click on these tabs, you're going to go to different parts of the Zoom client. So right now in this screenshot here, we are in the home section. So you're seeing the home page here. And Zoom tries to be it's very intuitive and so on. All right. So like you see these buttons here. You could join a meeting. Like for instance, if you know a meeting is going on, you know it's the credentials like the meeting ID. You could join a meeting right away, or you could start a new meeting right away. All right. But the one that we're going to be focusing on today, in terms of setting up for your classroom, is you're going to schedule a meeting. So you're going to be clicking on this button down here, schedule. All right. So that's it in terms of setting up the Zoom account. All right. So you would have so far what we have done is that we have set up a Zoom account. We have downloaded the Zoom client. So we are ready to go forward using Zoom. But I just thought I should stop here for a second and just talk a little bit about what you should have in mind when you're having a Zoom session. All right, so some of these little pointers, like for instance, run a tech check 24 hours before your scheduled meeting. So make sure your equipment working a few hours before your meeting. All right, check your audio, especially check your mic if you're using a mic and so on. Let's check and see if it's working. Join from a location with a strong, stable internet connection. All right, like you don't want to be in an internet cafe. That Wi-Fi tends to be kind of iffy. In fact, the best way in which they recommend is that you connect directly using an Ethernet cable and so on, or at least have a very stable source of Wi-Fi. Like for me right now in this meeting, I'm using my home's Wi-Fi, but I also have my data as a backup, just in case this Wi-Fi drops, I could use the data from my phone as a hotspot just to run the session again. Be on time, like you don't want your students in there and then they see the time for the class start and they're not seeing you, because then they might think that they don't have a session. All right. Appearance. What I'm speaking about there is like if you're using your video, all right. If you're using your video, you don't want to you want to make sure the background is nice and clean and so on, or you might want to use an artificial background. We could talk about that later. All right. Consider using a headset and a microphone. Now that's not a thing. Somebody please let me just mute all these mics again. All right. So you see, as I said, when people have their mics on, the background noise can be quite distracting for the rest of participants. So this is we're learning in real time here. Please encourage your students to keep those mics off. All right. Record the meeting. That's always a good idea, so you could share it with people who missed the session and so on. Demonstrate instructor presence. Teaching remotely, you could lose your students if they don't think you're there with them. So always ask questions, keep it interactive and so on, right? Set expectations early, let them know what this session is about and so on. Check the chat box, they have a lot of questions and so on. if you could even have a co-host, like what I'm doing right now, because right now we have 290 participants. We're coming close to that 300 mark. And like, it'll be very difficult for me to answer all these questions, and that's so it's good to have, like how I have Dr. Hill, he's in the background answering your questions and so on. So that's great. All right. So these are just some of the pointers, and I will share these with you all. You're going to get a copy of these slides after. So you're going to get all this information here. All right. Now, while that is great for you, that's your pointers, you as a teacher should be giving pointers to your students as well. Don't just assume that they know how to use this technology. Besides the technical aspects, you know, how to, the etiquette and stuff in using this. All right. Now, if you, I don't know if you all saw these videos that they're passing around where students, they're in a Zoom session in class and they go into the washroom with their devices and they forget that the audio is on. I know everybody's hearing their business and stuff. All right. And that could happen to a teacher as well. So, you know, be careful about these things. You have to be very aware of when you're in this session. Is your mic on? Is your video on? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? All right. So talk to your students about these kind of things. All right. So we are going back to the Zoom session, to the Zoom client again. All right. So we are in the Zoom client. And what we're going to be doing is that we're going to schedule a meeting. So in the Zoom client, under the Home tab, you're going to be clicking on Schedule. All right. And what that does is that's going to let you schedule a meeting. All right. So when you click on Schedule, this is the default page you're going to see. You're going to have a topic, you're going to have dates, and so on. All right. Now, one of the things that you would or just one pause. Dr. Hill, I already have a form, so I'll be sharing it later on. All right, so coming back to the schedule meeting here. So this is the default page here. All right, now, one of the things that I want to point out here is that you can actually set the date of the session if you want. But remember, if you set a date, a specific date and time for that session, it will mean that that session will only run for that specific date and time. And if that's what you want, that's great. But let's say you want to imitate or recreate the classroom setting where you had class on Mondays 8 to 9 and Tuesday. Let's say during the week you have it 8 to 9. You have a class 8 to 9. It will mean that if you go over the dates, you have to set a date and time for every single day of that week. And then you have to go for the other week and the other week and so on. All right. So that is if you are setting specific dates and times. What I recommend is that you actually click this button here where it says recurring meeting. And essentially what that does is that when you click on recurring meeting, the session is live. And what that means is that think of it as a classroom that is open, and it's open all the time. And students and yourself can come into the classroom. So that's like what I have done with this one. I had created a recurring meeting. So it meant that you all came into the room before I did, right? But that doesn't mean that you all can start the class. You have to wait for the teacher to come in. So what you want to do is that you want to set up a recurring meeting, but you want to tell your students, listen, these are the dates and times that we are going to be meeting in this session. And one of the good things to do, in case like if all the teachers are doing in the class, in the school, it's a stick to that time schedule that you had when you were doing the face-to-face classes. So if you stick to that schedule, then, because what will happen is that, let's say in a school example, let's say teacher A, B, and C are teaching their courses, and they all want to use Zoom. If they stick to their time schedule that is on their syllabus and so on, it will avoid any kind of overlap with other teachers. So if you stick to the schedule, and then that was the schedule that students agreed upon, that they said that they were going to make the time available. All right. In fact, well, I'm thinking at a university level anyway. All right. So you can look at that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at when I click recurring meeting, then it doesn't give you any other options. It says, well, all right, the link is live all the time. When you're naming your topic, what we tend to tell lecturers is to put the course code, the name of the course, and then the name of the teacher. So like for instance, if at the secondary level, you might want to put Form 4 biology and then put Jason Matthew or whatever your name is as a teacher, all right? The other thing is you want to keep this click checked, generate automatically. So what it's going to do is going to generate a random ID. So that ID will be specific for that meeting or that class that you're setting up. All right, now password. You could set up a password if you want. And of course, there's the security benefit of setting up a password. The disadvantage of that is that you have to give the students the password before they could enter the session. And from my experience, that is a headache you really don't want. All right, it's not worth the extra security. So what will happen is that some of them are going to forget the password, and while you're having a session, you're going to be getting all these emails and messages. So I don't know how to get in the class. What's the password again? So I would recommend that you keep it unchecked, meaning that the box remains empty. All right, video off for both participants and hosts. At least when they're starting, they will have the option to turn it on. All right, audio, let's use telephone and computer audio. Now with the telephone, it's according to what countries, like in the United States and maybe some parts of Europe and stuff, you could actually dial in using your phone to the Zoom session. But most of the times, like what we'll be using in the Caribbean, especially, will be your computer audio, like what I'm doing right now. But you could just keep the option open, so if you have any international students and so on. And then the calendar part is that if you want to sync this Zoom information on your calendar to remind you and so on, you could click on, let's say for instance, I have a Google Calendar, and then you set up those details, but you don't have to do that. And once you set up the meeting now, you click on schedule. All right. And this is how it's going to look. All right. So you have the Zoom. Well, what I did is I went to my Zoom calendar. We were originally on home, but what I did is I click on the top, I click on meetings. So now this is the meeting that I just set up. So if you watch, let me just go back. This is the meeting. This was everything that I did, and I click schedule. It goes to my meetings, under my meetings. When you click on meetings, you see the session that you set up. Now, when you are ready to start that session, you click on start, and that will start the session. So let's say you had decided during the week, 8 to 9 guys, we're gonna meet. When it's around 10 to 8, quarter to 8, you could come in the room, click start, and it will start the session for you. All right. Now, how does the students join the session now? Now, how you do that is that you click on this, show meeting invitation. And when you click on show meeting invitation, the information for that meeting comes up. All right. And what you want to do is go under Zoom, join Zoom meeting, and you copy this link. This is the link to your meeting. So when you copy this link, you can then email it to your students. Just like how, or share it on Facebook or whatever social media you probably have connections with your students and so on. So you could use that link. All right. So so you could send it to your students and so on, and they'll be just like how you all got this link to come into this meeting. That's what you're going to be doing for your students. All right. So I'll just kind of zoom in on the information you'll get when you click on that. All right. And then when you click start, this is how your window that you will look at. So let's recap. We have created, if you all were here with me from the beginning, we have created a Zoom account. We have downloaded the Zoom client. And now we have scheduled our first meeting, and we have shared the link with students so that they could come into the meeting when it's time. So I'm going to pause again for a minute. And if you all have any questions, you could ask via your mic, or you can put it up in the chat room and we will look at it.
Good afternoon.
Yes, hello.
Okay, hi. My name is Celia Prasad. I'm from Belmont Secondary School.
Hi, Celia.
One question. So is it that your students have to download Zoom in order to be able to have an interactive session?
Okay, good. Good question, Celia. The answer is no. You only want to, you only have to download Zoom really if you want to be the host. All right. In terms of like I don't know if Celia, is it that you already have a Zoom account? Because why I'm asking that.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, then this wouldn't apply. But what happens is that when I share that link, all people would have had to do was click on the link, and it's going to say opening a Zoom session, right? And you just have to download an executable file, and it will activate that session. But it doesn't mean that you have downloaded Zoom on your session on your system. All right. Now the students could do that if they want. Some of them might even be using Zoom to communicate with their friends and so on, but it is not necessary, and it's web-based. So in terms of the only really requirement you would need, I say important one, is a reliable internet source and a computer. Or you can use it on your phones and stuff. You know, maybe a desktop or a laptop would be the best. All right. So that's it. So you don't need any set of, in terms of the student side of it, you don't need a whole set of complicated setups and all of that. All right. All right. Any other questions? Well, I hear some of you are asking about the recording. Yeah. So when I pause to go from this to the talking about the Google Drive aspect of it, I'll share a link to a form that you could just give us your email addresses and so we'll have it. And what I'll do is that when I end the session and we get it recording, I'll just email it to that whole email list. Right.
Hi, good afternoon.
Okay. Yes?
Yeah, David Roberts from Harmon School of SDA. Quick question is this, right? If I have a session and I don't have a pro account and I have a 40-minute time limit, after the 40 minutes is up, all I need to do is just start over the session and everybody join back via the same link?
That is correct. So like if you set up like how I showed you, where you did the recurring meeting, it means that link is always live. So once you all come out of the meeting, you can just click on the link again and go back in. And you have a next 40 minutes. And you just keep going until your session is finished. All right. So so this is your control panel as the host. All right. And this you will see when you scroll to the bottom of the window. All right. And as I said before, we already spoke about some of these things. Like you could mute and unmute your mic. So again, unless you have questions or comments, you could please keep those mics mute because as you can see, the background noise could be incredibly distracting. Again, video, you want to turn off that video unless you think you need it for some presentation or something. The reason why I say turn off video is that video takes up a lot of bandwidth. And for students or for yourself, if you have a weak internet connection, adding that video layer on it is going to require more resources, and people with weak internet would not be able to view the session. So video is something that you want to you want to be very careful about. All right. Or if you're doing student presentations or something, and you need to see the student, you need to see the presentation. That's a different story. But for most sessions, you really you don't need to see everyone. So you can turn that video off. All right. So we're going to be going through all of these different functions here in more detail now. So for instance, the first one is like, if you click on invite. Now, the thing is that if you did what I spoke about before, where you got the link and you share the link with your students before the class begins, then you really don't need to do invite. But what that does is that if you click on that invite button, you could, as the name suggests, you could invite people into the session. All right, so like if you click on the invite button, these are the options you get. You can copy the URL, like how we did before, and then you could email it or WhatsApp it to whoever needs the link to get in. All right, but if you send the link beforehand, you share the link with your student, then you really won't be using this function by this. Throw it in there because it's there. All right, and this is what a normal Zoom meeting link will look like. All right, so once you have something like this and you share with the students, they will be able to get in. All right. The next thing is the chat function. So when you click on chat, all right, you get a window like this, all right, where you can send messages, and you all are doing a great job so far. A lot of you all are sending messages, so that's great. But if you watch here, there are certain options that you have. You can send a message to everyone. So right now, the setting is set there as everyone. So it means that whatever you type in that box, all the participants in this session will see it. All right. If you want to send something specifically to someone, then you just need to click on the everyone button, and it will give you a list of all the participants, and then you could choose the name of the person you want to privately message. All right. But when you do that, always remember that when you come back, it's going to stick to that. So you might, if you want to talk to everyone again, you'll have to go and click on that button and make sure it's set to everyone. All right. So like this is an example here. Now in this demo here, when I took the screenshot, there was nobody in the meeting. So when I click on everyone, it just had my name as the host. But in a session like this, you'll see all the names of all the people who are in this session right now. And then you could click on that person's name and send a message to that person privately. Just remember, if you need to send something globally, like to everyone again, make sure everyone is selected. Or else you just keep talking to that one person for the duration of the session and not realize. Let's be careful about that part. All right, another thing that you could do is that while you're having your session, you can share files. All right, so how you do that? You just click on file, and when you click on file, it's going to ask you, well, where do you want to upload the file from? Whether it's your computer or your Dropbox or whatever, and then you could go through, fiddle through, and upload a file if you want. All right. Now, I think this part is very important, especially if you are teaching at the secondary school level. But there are 3 dots here, and those 3 dots gives you further options on how to regulate your chat group. All right. So when you click on these 3 dots, you get these options. All right. The participant can chat with. So for people who are teaching classes with a younger audience, you might want to click no one, because this chat part, they could get very distracting. They could start talking with each other and forget about your session. So that's something you might want to think about. Or you might want to choose the option host only, meaning that the participants in the group will just speak to the teacher directly, all right, or everyone publicly. So that means that all the messages in that group is only public, or in this case, like how we have it right now, everyone publicly and privately. So this is one where you have to be very careful about, think about your class, your needs, and see which option there will best suit those needs. All right. So I just seen some questions here. Would it make sense for a student to use their cell phone, or is it necessary for them to use a desktop or laptop? Now, I kind of addressed that earlier. I would recommend personally that they use their desktop or laptop, all right? But it's not impossible to use the, like it will work on their cell phone as well, especially, but you see, if it's one of those sessions where you want to have a lot of interaction and stuff, and you want to use what we show later on, which is the whiteboard and stuff, you really want a laptop or something with that real estate in terms of screen space and to move around and stuff. Because on the phone, it could get pretty choppy there. And also the, I don't think it has all the options that Zoom gives on the mobile version. So that's something that, that you could look at. All right. So the other thing now is that you want to record, all right, record the session. All right, so you click on record, and then you'll get, now if you have the pro account, you're going to get the option to record to the cloud or record on this computer. I will recommend that you record on this computer, but if you don't have the pro option, it's only one option you're going to get anyway, which is to record on your computer. All right, now as a general rule of thumb, and this is for every 1 hour of the session that you record, think about a maximum of 1 gig of space you would need on your hard drive to save that. Now, most likely it's going to be much less, especially if you follow my advice of not having everybody video cameras on and stuff, because that's going to increase the file size. All right, so if you just have the video off and so on, and you're sharing your screen, then it'll be much less than a gig. But a gig is a nice gauge. So like if you have a 2-hour session, know that you should have at least 2 gigs of free space on your hard drive to record the session. And don't worry, it doesn't stay on your hard drive. Like what we'll discuss when you're using Google Drive, that we're going to put it on your Google Drive so it doesn't take up that space there. So we'll talk a little bit more about that afterwards. Right, so when you're finished recording the session, so like when you end the session is recorded, and that recording, you can access it through, again, your Zoom client. So you go to your Zoom client, you open up your Zoom client, and you go to meetings this time. So you have home, chat, meetings, contact at the top, you choose in meetings. And on the left-hand side, there's upcoming, and then there's recorded. So you're gonna click on recorded, and it's gonna show you the recording that you did. So like for instance, when I'm finished here with you guys and I end the meeting, I'm going to go to my Zoom client to find the recording. And it will have the name of the session that you did. And then you're going to click on open. And when you click on open, it's going to show you where that file is. So you have access to the file. All right, you could also play video and so on. And when you're finished with the recording and you don't want it in your system again, then you just click on delete, and that gets rid of it. All right, now the next big one that you want to use is share screen. All right, and when you click on share screen, a few options come up. So you're going to get this set of options, and you have basic, advanced, and files. So right now we are on the basic tab, and a few things you can do. You can share your whole entire desktop. So it means that whatever is on your desktop, all the participants will see it. So if whatever windows you have open, whatever videos you have running, whatever you have there on the desktop, everyone, all the participants in the session will see. All right. So that's one way. All right. Or you could ask to share specific things. Like for instance, if you just want, like how I'm doing right now, I am sharing a PowerPoint presentation. You all are not seeing any other thing but that PowerPoint presentation, or I'm sharing my screen. And the reason why that is working is because I clicked on the PowerPoint. All right, so once it's open on your window, you'll get the option to click on it. All right, so for instance, anything that is open on your desktop, it will come up in this window here, and you can click on that. So like for instance, if I had a YouTube page open, then the YouTube page will come up here, and I could just click on the YouTube page, and only that will the participants see. All right. All right, then on, if you click on the advanced tab, but then you have other options where you could choose a portion of your desktop to show. So that's something else. Or if you go on files, then you could share a file that you have in Google Drive or Dropbox. You just have to connect your file sharing services with Zoom. So that's another thing, all right, you can do. All right, now one of the cool things as teachers is that, you know, our whiteboard is our, you know, tool of trade. And you could actually have a whiteboard feature in Zoom that mimics what you do in the face-to-face session with a whiteboard, all right? So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to stop sharing for now, and I'm going to share the whiteboard. Let's wait to have a look at it. So I'm going to stop the sharing, and I'm going to actually share a whiteboard with you. All right, so now that I have a whiteboard there, you know, for the math teachers, you could put 2x plus, you know, and you could write and stuff. You could even put text. You could add text if you want. All right. And there are some other things you could do. And then you could have your participants come in and they can also write on the whiteboard. All right. So it could be a very interactive session for something that you're doing. All right. So I'm just going to clear that. All right, and I'm going to stop sharing now. So this whiteboard feature is something you could use as well. And I'm going to go return to the PowerPoint. I'm going to share the PowerPoint again. All right. All right, now another thing that you could do is that if you take your mouse, your cursor, and you point it towards the top of the screen, you would see these options coming up. And one of the options is annotate, and that's pretty cool. I'll use annotate right now. So I click on annotate, and look at what I can do now. So look at what's happening, guys. I am sharing a PowerPoint presentation with you all, and using the annotate function, I can select, I can highlight different parts of the PowerPoint, you know, just to draw the users in and show them exactly what I'm doing. All right. Now, this is not a destructive thing in that it's not affecting your actual PowerPoint. This is just Zoom doing this on the screen right now. So if I just clear it, it goes away. All right. It doesn't affect your presentation is safe and nice. You could write up on the screen as much as you like, and it doesn't interfere with your actual presentation. All right. Okay. All right, so the other thing I want to show you is breakout room, but I will pause for a second again, and I will welcome any questions or anything that you all. So will students be able to write on the whiteboard? Yes, the answer is yes.
Good afternoon. I have used the whiteboard on Zoom before, but I have not noticed that I can invite students to write on it. How do I do that? Where's that button?
No, normal. We might have to look at the settings. So that's something that I will have to talk to you afterwards, because that one we'll probably have to go into these settings and see what sharing privileges you have. Because normally, normally the default is that students are able to share the whiteboard. So I'll have to look into that for you, but most likely it's in the sharing part of it. All right. Okay, so now the other thing is breakout rooms. Now this one is pretty cool in that essentially what you're doing is that you have your Zoom session going on. All right. You want to break up your students into smaller groups where they only work with those students in that group, and then you bring them back into the main session. So like probably you give, like, let's say you have 4 groups and you give 4 different questions, you let them break up into those groups. So it means that group A will not be able to communicate with group B during that session, during that time, and then they come back as a whole and they can discuss the whole thing. So that's something that we could do that. All right. But there is now, if just now, let's going back here to get that breakout rooms option on your menu, you have to activate it. There's some people wouldn't see it as a default. It's not there as a default. You have to activate breakout room session. So that's what I'm going to show you now. So you return to your Zoom client, you go to the home page, and then you click on that little cog there at the bottom, in the top right. You click on that cog there, and what that does is that it will go to this page. And what you want to do is you want to click on View More Settings, because what we are doing here is that we're going to look at the settings to activate breakout rooms, and that's where you probably will also see a sharing settings for the whiteboard, just to double check. All right. So when you go on that now, and you go under settings, you want to choose in meeting advanced. You want to choose the advanced tab. And when you choose the advanced tab, you're going to see breakout room. Now, normally as a default, it's not ticked. So what you want to do is that you want to turn on the option. Oops, you want to turn on the option. All right. So there's that little toggle button there. So you turn on the option, as well as you click on Allow Host to Assign Participants. And then the breakout room button should come up on your control panel there. All right, so that's, you only do those steps if it's not there on your panel there. All right, so you can do those things to get it there. So that's whether you're using a pro account or a regular account, you have that affordance to use breakout rooms. Now, once you click on breakout rooms, the Zoom is going to ask you, well, in this case, I did a screenshot just practicing it, and I would have had no participants at the time. So it says assign 0 participants. And then you could click here to choose the number of rooms that you want. All right. And then you could choose automatically. And what that will do is that Zoom is just going to take all the participants and randomly throw them in these rooms. So you're going to assign them to these rooms randomly, and then so you'll have that. Or if you have an idea which students you want in together, you could also choose manually. And when you're finished, you click Create Breakout Rooms. When you click Create Breakout Rooms, you get, like for instance, in my example, I'm choosing 4 rooms. You can even go ahead further and assign more people to it. You could even move people from one room to the next, or you could even take someone out of the room if they're being very disruptive. You could take them out of the room. All right. Now, the room has not started as yet. It's only when you click on Open All Rooms will Zoom take the students and put them in the rooms, and then they can work together. Now, there are some options here. When you click on the options here, you again, as a teacher, you will have to figure out, well, what are the needs, what kind of class you're, what's the needs, and so on. So like for instance, these are the default normally, but if you want, especially when if you have a younger audience, you might want to click on the option to move all participants in breakout rooms automatically. So it meant that when you click that button, Open Rooms, they will automatically go in these breakout rooms, and they will have to work there. All right. You could choose the option that participants to return to the main session anytime, meaning that like they could come back into the session anytime that the main session that they want. Or if you don't check that option, it means that all the participants will stay in their breakout room until you're ready to bring them back in. All right. You could also specify the time, how long you want these breakout room sessions to take place. And then there's a countdown. So like for instance, like let's say you specify that you want the breakout room to be 30 minutes long, or in your session, or you just closing off the breakout room. The participants will get a notification saying, listen, in 1 minute, the breakout rooms are going to be closed. Finish up your conversations. You're going to come back into the return into the main session. All right. So this is a great way of breaking up the class into small groups and having them work and so on. All right. So let me just check the chat room again, and I'm open to any questions that you all have. I see Dr. Hill is working overtime. Anything for me?
Yeah, there are 2 questions there, Jason. There's a question on the breakout room in terms of breakout permission.
Mm-hmm.
I think you answered that a while ago. And there's also a question from Golda asking about, what did she say? She said she create breakout rooms before the session.
Yes, you can. You can. Actually, I thought I had that there, you know, man. Oh. But yes, I thought I did that. I don't have a screenshot for it. But you can, when you turn on the option to have a breakout room, when you go to schedule meeting, if you scroll to the bottom, it asks you, do you want me to assign breakout rooms? So you could actually do the breakout room before you even start the session. All right. I don't have a screenshot here, but yes, it can be done. And it's there in that schedule meeting, but you have to do it from the web and not from the Zoom client. So that's probably something that we could follow up on to show you all after. But yes, it can be done. You can create your breakout rooms well in advance of the actual session. You could actually put the students assign students to the breakout room. So when they join in, they go and you activate breakout rooms. They go on there. All right. Do I need a stylus for the whiteboard feature? No, you can actually use your trackpad, but I mean, the stylus will give you a lot more control. But you saw when I tried to write, I was using my trackpad on my laptop here, or you could use your mouse. And you know, with the mouse, you actually get a little more control, I suspect. All right.
There's a question about recurring meetings.
Mm-hmm.
The use of recurring meetings by students outside the class, like group work.
Right. Now, if students want to do that, then well, if you have a recurring meeting, they could just join in into the link and they can start working there. Or another option you could do is that you could actually let students create their own Zoom accounts so that they could have their own meetings. They could do the same kind of things like you would do. They'll be their own host, and they could have their meetings amongst each other. All right, so, all right, the next thing is, unfortunately, if you've been following the news, there's something called Zoom raids. And that is where unwanted people come into the session. Fortunately for us, I don't think we have any of that today. Now here's the thing, the students, you have to tell your students, listen, and they might even listen, but you have to tell your students, listen, do not share these links with anybody, right? These links are supposed to be for your access to your classes. All right, don't be sharing around these links. The next thing is, as a teacher, look at the number of participants. If you know you have 12 people in your class and you see 24 participants, then look through it and see if there's anybody there that should not be there. So those are some things. Now, these cases are not frequent, but there's something as a teacher to be aware of. Check your participants list, kind of get a gauge of who's there or not. And I know let's keep an eye out for that. All right, so I'm going to take a minute's break because we have finished Zoom. That's it for now. The other thing that we're going to do that will take about 10 minutes is we're just going to look at your Google Drive. So in the meantime, what I would do is that I am going to share this link with you all in the message group. So you all could use this form here. All right. And that's essentially register for the class. So how you get a recorded session? Well, in this form, we ask you for your email address, and you can give us your email address. And so that's how I will send the recording to you all. All right, so I'm going to stop for a second. Stop. And I am going to share that link with you all now. So
Okay.
you all could, yes?
There's a question about the advanced video option in terms of setting your background and so forth.
Right. I'm not going to cover that one today,
Okay.
but basically what Zoom has is green screen technology, and you could actually, like Zoom, but yeah, for this to work, people, yes, your background has to be like one kind of color. It works best that way. So like, for instance, if let's say you have a white or a green wall behind you, Zoom is actually able to use the green screen technology and take that color out, and it can replace, you can replace one of your, you can replace with a picture or a basic color or something. All right, so I'm just trying to get this file for you guys. All right, so you all can ask any other questions along while you wait for this link. I'm just getting a little difficulty to pull the link up.
Okay, there are some questions coming in, and I'll just read them, and then we could just answer them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one thing, how do you access a whiteboard? In the shared option, right, Jason?
Yes, when you click on share your screen, one of the options is, besides sharing your whole desktop, there's your whole whiteboard will come up. So you see it there. All right.
Yes, and George is confirming that. There was another question.
All right, guys, so just, sorry to cut you across, Dr. Hill. I've just added the Google form there. All right, so if you could just fill that out quickly. All right, or you can fill it out after, you know, but it just takes 2 minutes. I'll just share the form. Everyone should have access once you use the link there. All right, so I'll just share the form. All right, now don't try to fill it out on the screen here. I just want to say that this form here is basically just to get your email, all right, so that we can contact you, share the links that we have used today. But also, what I plan to do is to do this on a regular basis, all right, to share how to use educational technology in teaching and so on. So if you watch at the bottom there, there's I would like the following discussed in future sessions. So if you all have any other things that you all want to learn about, you all could put it there, and I will have future sessions come about. And that's why it's also good to give me your email address so that I can contact you via that. All right. Now this form is not compulsory. You know, if you want to fill it out, feel free. If there are any sections that you don't want to fill out, you can leave it blank. It's entirely up to you.
All right, Jason, they're saying that it needs permission, so you need to change the setting.
All right, I thought I did. Let me just check it here quickly.
Yeah, this will be much easier and quicker for us to be able to send you the information than going through the chat and looking at all the email addresses and so forth. So Jason is sharing the document with you. All right. Post your questions as well.
All right, so guys, I just removed the restrictions, so you all should be. Let's confirm with me if you all can access the form now.
What is it?
I wouldn't think that is a hack. Just like how we had the link.
Okay, so I got in some yeses and stuff.
Okay.
All right, so great. So as I said, I plan to do some more stuff. Like for instance, if you want to learn about Google Forms, that's basically the form I'm sharing with you all now. We could talk about that in another group. So that's the plan here, you know, a little community outreach. All right, so in the meantime, I'm just going to set up, we're going to talk about Google Drive, and that's going to be like 10-minute stop. So, you know, I know you all, thank you for spending this time with us. And somebody's asking, where should I go get the form? Just scroll up a little. You'll see a link from me. What I'll do is I'll share it once again in the chat room, but it should be there. So I'm going to post it in the chat once again so you can sign up for this. All right. So I'm going to start. I'm just trying to recharge the vocal cords here. In a minute, I'll start the Google Drive section of it. So feel free to start to fill out the forms in the meantime. I'm going to come to you very soon. All right, so I think I'm going to start now. So I'm going to talk about Google Drive now. So I'm going to share my video again. All right, so you're going to be using Google Drive to teach remotely. And so far, we've looked at Zoom. And Zoom gives us the affordance to sync sessions and office hours and so on. And now we're going to look at Google Drive to share resources with your students. So again, just a reminder, please everyone, mute your mics as well as mute your cameras, like take off your camera, because that's going to take up a lot of bandwidth and it's not necessary right now. Right, so in this guide, what we're going to be looking at is how to use your Google Drive, simply referred as your drive, to create folders, to populate your folders with resources, to create shareable links for these folders, and then to post these shareable links for your class. So that's basically what we're going to be doing here, all right? Now again, I'm just going to show you all some ideas of how to do it, but it's up to you how you all want to do this. You're the teacher, you know how to work for you and so on, all right? Now, one way in which you can set up is have a folder for your general resources, such as your syllabus and so on. And then you can have folders now that represents each week of class. So like you'll have like let's say April 1st to April 7th. And then inside that folder will be a container now holding everything or all the resources that they will need for that week. All right. So again, you will know how best to organize your folders. Just use some obvious names. Don't just have folder one. When a student going there, they see 1, 2, 3, 4. You want them to have something that's logical and makes sense. All right. Now, a big thing. The way how we're going to be doing this is that it's a shared folder, meaning that everyone who has access to this folder will have access. Well, all students will be seeing everything. So like, for instance, do not create an assignment folder where you want students to give assignments, all right? You want to give assignments and so on that, just now, sorry. Yeah, so you don't want to be, you know, given assignment folder, because what will happen is that any assignment a student puts in there, other students will be able to see that assignment and copy from it and so on. So if it's an assignment, the classical way in which you want the students to submit an assignment to you and you alone mark it and return to the student, you don't want to put that folder, you don't want to put that file in the Google Drive. All right, you will want the students to email that to you directly. All right, but if it's a peer-reviewed assignment, well, then you could have a assignment folder in that case, because students will be able to see the assignments and comment on it and so on. So that's something that's a thing to consider. All right. Okay, so how do you use your Google Drive? Now it's simple. You just, if you have a Gmail, all right, if you have a Gmail, you can, you have a Google Drive, whether you ever use it or not. Once you have a Gmail address, that means you have a Gmail account. It means that you have a Google Drive. So the best way, easiest way I could think of is just create a Gmail address if you don't have one, all right? Now, what you want to do, all right, is that you would click on the dots. There's some dots here, a grid of dots. Like when you go into your Gmail account, your Gmail address, there are some grid of dots in the top right corner. All right, and when you click on that, it gives you the option now of all your Google account. And one of them is Google Drive. So you can just click on the Google Drive. And there you will get you'll be inside of your Google Drive. And like if, for instance, you never use a Google Drive and it's empty, it's going to look like this. Now, if you are using your personal Google Drive, then you have a limit of 15 gigs. All right. Now, if you are in a school and the school has a Google account, all right, then those drives will have unlimited space. So you might want to talk to your IT team, you know, at school to see if they have administrator access to Google accounts, so then you could be assigned one of those. If not, well, then you can use your personal account. It has up to 15 gigs of space that you could use there. All right. Now, the first thing you want to do is that you want to create a folder. So you just go to the left-hand side, all right, and you click on New, and then you click on Folder, all right? And then this window will come up saying New Folder. So in that case, what you want to do is that you want to just give it a title. So for instance, you could put Form 4 Biology, all right, if that's the name of your class or whatever name, and then you put the teacher's name. Well, if it's secondary school students, you want to be Mr. Jason Matthew, and then you click Create. And what that does is that now you have a folder, all right, and we could call that your class folder. So it means that if you're teaching other class, let's say you're teaching a Form 4 chemistry class, then you create a next folder saying Form 4 chemistry. And within these folders, we'll have all of the materials for that class, all right? So then we could go into this Form 4 folder, and we could repeat these steps. You could click on New, click on Folder, or you could just right-click here, click on New Folder, and you could create some subfolders now. So, for instance, if you want to put the syllabus, you could create a syllabus folder, all right? You could create, or you could just right click in the white space, click New Folder, and you could create, let's say, again, let's use some hypothetical dates. Let's say April 1st to April 7th. That's 1 week. You could create that, right? And then you could create all the different weeks for the duration of the period that you want to teach on using Google Drive. You could also create another important folder will be your Zoom recordings. All right, so you can put your Zoom recordings in Google Drive so that it takes up the online space, the virtual space, but it doesn't take up space on your hard drive. All right, so you could let students know that when they go into this folder here, you'll have all these Zoom recordings that you have done so far. All right, again, remember what I said about nomenclature and stuff, have a proper naming and stuff. So like if you're putting your Zoom recordings in this folder, please title each recording probably with a date of time or the topic that was discussed or something, so that students know, well, what that Zoom recording is, which one it is. All right. Once you create these folders here, it's very simple. You can just drag and drop resources in there. So like, for instance, what I tend to do is that I will have let me just stop sharing for a second and make sure that my whole desktop is being shared now. So I'm going to share my desktop. So make sure you're seeing, yeah. Right, so let me go back. So in my drive, I have a Form 4 Biology folder, that's my class. And I'm going to put all the resources that the student needs to access between April 1st and April 7th. All right, now what you could do is that you could have a folder on your desktop. Well, I had Form 5 Biology, but let's say it's Form 4 Biology. All right, and then you could put your PowerPoint presentations in there, right? Just simply drag and drop. You could put Word documents in there. You could put PDFs in there. All right, and as I'm saying PDFs, again, in terms of accessibility, what you could probably do is convert your PowerPoints and Word documents into PDFs, because then you show all your students will be able to access the material, because a PDF reader, you can use Acrobat Reader, which is a free software to download. While in terms of PowerPoint and Microsoft Word, they they are proprietary software. So if the student has those software in his machine, then he'll be able to open these documents. But a PDF, once you have a computer and stuff, they will be able to open that. All right. The other thing that you would like to do, so we are sharing resources, we are sharing notes. You could put any kind of file in there. Like let's say you had some videos or some MP3s or whatever you need to share. You could also put that inside here. All right. Now, what's going to happen is that you have to be mindful of your storage, right? So as I said, there's the option to buy more storage, or I think you should talk to your school and see if they have any arrangement, because like for instance, the university that I'm in right now, we have Google accounts where we have unlimited storage. So you can put anything, any file size in there. So just be careful about the file size, all right? And you see, you get these confirmation, these green ticks. These means that all your files was placed in the Google Drive, all right? Now, so other things that you can share, you probably have like YouTube links, websites that you want the students to go to. Now, one way in which you could do that is that you could create files within Google Drive. And the way how you do that is that you click on New. Now, when you click on New, you're going to get these options. Google Docs, which is equivalent to Word, Microsoft Word. You have Google Sheets, which is equivalent to Excel. And you have Google Slides, which is equivalent to Microsoft PowerPoint. So in this case, what I'm going to do is that I am going to click on Google Docs. All right. And I have actually, just for the interest of time, I have already created, let me see, where did I put that? Right. So I have created some links here in a Word document. And what I can do is that I can just click on this, copy it, and then if you have a Mac, it's Command V. If it's a Windows computer, Control V, and you just paste the links in there. Now this was for a demo for one of my lecturers at university. So this was a different date, but you will put the date that you want them to look at it at. Now, good practice is that when you give a link, just don't have a page, the whole set of links and stuff. Give it, like for instance, the title of the YouTube video, and then a short description of what the video is about. Similarly, for the websites, you put a title for the website and a little description of what the website is about. And I'm sure that your teacher brain is firing away. You know of different ways in which you could organize this. All right. And then you just click on here, and it's going to pull. When you click on that, it's going to pull whatever the first line is. So that's your title. It's going to pull it there. All right. And now if we return to our Google Drive, all right, and we just refresh it, it's there. All right, so the student has access to it and so on. So this is a great way in which you can share resources. Now remember, all these resources are shareable, and it means that all the participants have access to them. And I'm talking about this word sharing. Now, what does that mean? Let's go back, let's return to the folder. All right, so I go to my drive. This is the folder here. This was the class folder that you created. And you want to share this with your class. So how you do that is that you right click on the folder, you click on share, you click on get shareable link. All right, and then you click this drop down menu just to make sure, and you want that anyone with the link can view. Once you have that option, it means that once you share that link with your students, anybody who has the link, they can access the resources. So then you click copy link, all right? And you click done. And now what you do, I'll just open up a Word document here. What you do is that you can paste it into your email or so on and send it to your students. So let me just paste it here. So you see this link here? If you click on this link, so let me click on it now. If you click on the link, it goes to that folder, right? It goes to your Form 4 Biology folder. Now, some of you might be concerned, listen, is it that when you share this link, is it that students will be able to just go and look at my whole drive? The answer is no, all right? Only what you share can they see. They can't go to your whole drive and look at all your other business and stuff, right? So you shared a link for the folder that is called Form 4 Biology. It means that the students can only see what's in that folder, because that's the folder you shared with them. They can't see anything else. All right. So like, for instance, if you had other resources here, it will not be able to see them. All right. So that's pretty much how you share files with your student. So this is a nice way for them to still get access to resources and so on. And also a nice way to share the Zoom recordings that you make up. All right. So that's pretty much it for Google Drive. And so you're going to be using Google Drive and Zoom to get these things in order. So I'm just going to pause now and look at your questions and concerns. So let me just pull up the chat room here. Greatest chemistry, agreed. Microsoft has OneDrive. You could use OneDrive. OneDrive will give you the same kind of stuff. But you know, I know Google Drive is something that people might, well, at least Google on the whole, people might be familiar with. What if you have 2 Gmail accounts? Well, what will happen is that you need to decide which Gmail account you want to share with your student. So like, for instance, like if I click on this W here, I will see other emails coming up and I can choose which one. In this case, I wanted this email account. So and then you click on the Google Drive that's associated with that email account. All right. So yeah, well, I see, well, okay, Doug and them had answered my question. Yes, each Google account has its own drive, correct. Office 365, yeah, well, Office 365 is PowerPoint, is that version of PowerPoint and stuff. Yeah. Must you only have a Gmail account? Yes, because, well for what I'm showing you here, it's a Google Drive, and Google Drive is part of your Google account. And in fact, you didn't even need to go to your Gmail, but I am just showing you one of the easier ways in which you could access your Google account. But yeah. Right, and Dr. was saying, you know, yeah, proprietary software, like I was just showing you, you could, the Google Drive facilitates any file. Like you could put a Word document, you could put any kind of file, video, audio, you know, graphic files and so on. But what you need to keep mindful of is that although you share these files and it's opening on your system, is it something that will open on other systems? Is it a proprietary software you're using, or is it some open source software? Now, if it's open source software, then the students could be able to download it for free and be able to open it as well. All right. So guys, I think we are coming close to the end there. All right. I just want to thank you all for coming out. All right. Now, if you all need to contact me, what I said is that I've developed the wecanedutech@gmail.com. So it's we.can.edu.tech@gmail.com. In fact, let me just write it here. we.can.edu.tech@gmail.com. So you could email me directly there. I'll try to help as much as I can. All right. I've also created a Facebook page. So it's let me get that page up. All right. So on this page, you can oh, and by the way, but that's me there. I think I didn't show my video. So this is how I look in the real world. All right. You can please like and follow the Facebook page. So like, for instance, when I'm having any similar events in the future, I'm going to put it up there on that Facebook page. All right. So, oops, all of that. All right. So you're going to see, you can check that Facebook page up. It doesn't have much in it now, but it's going to grow quickly. So please, guys, have a look at that. All right. So again, I will look at the Google form that you guys are filling out. All right, let me just pull up the link once again for you, for those who might not have it. All right, I'm sharing it in the chat room. So please follow that Google form. As I said, that's how we're gonna initially contact you or send you all the recording, send you all any other resources that I did. All right, and then we'll take it from there. All right, but you all have my contact and so on. And guys, you know, I always say to people, you know, don't panic too much. You know, just you know, give it a try. Let's just dive in and you know, and this might sound kind of bad, but press some buttons and see what happens, man. You know, so again, guys, you know, remember the situation at hand. So please stay safe, stay healthy. I will stick around for 2 minutes afterwards, so that if y'all have any questions and stuff. But I know this was a pretty long session, and you guys stayed for all of it, and I'm very happy. So y'all can leave if you all have to now, and I'll stick around for 2-3 minutes just to answer anybody's question. So for those of you who have to leave, you have to leave. Others, you can unmute your mic, ask any questions. Go ahead. Could you do a session on Google Classroom? Yeah, let's put it in the Google Forms. I'll have a record of it. What I'll do is that I'm going with popularity. In other words, whatever people most ask for, that's the things that I will start talking about in the future. The Facebook page is unavailable. What? All right, I will, again, because we have the emails and stuff, I'll be working on it. I'll send you all the links and so on.
A pleasant good afternoon. A pleasant good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is Mr. Pemberton from St. Kitts.
Yes, from St. Kitts. How's St. Kitts today?
Well, we are pretty okay, thank God.
Praise God.
Yes, sir. This afternoon has been very informative. I have one, thanks, yes. I have one quick question.
Sure.
Regarding the sharing of the screen.
Uh-huh.
My major concern is the process in terms of students writing on the shared screen. What's the process so we can get students writing on the shared screen?
Right. Now, what you do is that you, they, just like how you would move your cursor to the top there, if they move their cursor to the top, they would see the option to annotate. And if they click on annotate, they should be able to write. But I think early on in the session, and something that I have to look into, somebody was saying that they have changed the settings in a way now that normally by default they'll be able to write on the screen, but now they're saying that it might not be so. So I have to look into that and see. It might be something that you have to activate in the settings.
Yeah, the thing about it is that Zoom was originally designed for the executive and business setting. And now that persons are using it for education, you know, you change the setting. So they've changed the setting because of those spoofing and those persons who are trolling sessions and so forth. So you as a user can turn it on. All right, but by default, they've actually changed it to prevent persons from naturally having access to your whiteboard automatically.
Okay. So the first place to go is in the settings.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks a million. Thanks a million. I'll experiment with that.
Yes, that's just, yeah, that's what you have to do there.
Hi.
Yes, hello.
Can you please repeat the email address with the weekend?
All right, I will just, it's we.can.edu.tech@gmail.com. All right, so I'll just write it one more time. we.can.edu.tech@gmail.com. All right, and what I'll do is that, I misspelled it, T-E-C-H. All right, so let me just write it again. So what I'll do is that now that we have your contact information, your email address, I will send an email blast with all these different ways in which you can contact us, and I will also send the recordings and so on once you fill out the Google form.
So, well, I didn't get to fill out the form.
All right.
I emailed you at this. Would I get you?
I will. Sorry, I didn't hear that. What's that?
I'm saying that I didn't get to fill out the form.
But
if
I just.
At the email address you just gave, would I get you personally?
The email address that I gave, yes, that's my personal email address.
Right. Well, I didn't get to fill out the form. I didn't know where to go.
I just, let me, I'm going to share the link again in the chat room. So I'm going to put the link there now.
It's already in the chat room already, again.
But Doctor, I think your link is different from mine, you know.
Really? Let me see.
Yes, it is. It's two different links I'm observing.
Yeah, the one, send it to the one that I'm putting up.
Okay, because I was a bit confused.
Yeah. All right, so yes, we are here to help, guys. You know, this is interesting times we live in, and we have to help each other out as best as we can. And that's the whole idea of We Can EduTech. I just came up with that just last night, actually. You know, feeling like this week I was feeling like, listen, like we had a real challenge to get our university online, and now that is kind of over. I was thinking, listen, they have a lot of educators out there that needs our help. So I was just thinking about ways in which I could do this, and this was one of the ways that came to me. So I'm going to try to help you guys as much as I can.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so give us. I will share the Facebook page one more time, but I'm hearing that some people are saying that when they try to do it, they're not getting in. So I'm going to share it now, and if there's anything, I will share it with the set of emails that I'll be sending you guys. All right. Did anybody who's there still, did you all get onto the Facebook page by chance?
Not yet. Hold on.
Oh gosh. No, I mean like oh, somebody's saying that they got on, I think. Yeah. Okay, so some people are saying they got on. So the link is working. So give it a try. All right, it's a Facebook page. So you could if you're on your Facebook account, just check We Can EduTech. And again, it's just so that we keep all the information there. You can ask questions there as well. All right, guys. So I think we did good, and I hope to see you guys and talk to you guys soon. All right. So take care, everyone. Be safe. Be healthy.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thanks so much. Take care of yourself as well, man. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks so much.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Remember to stay
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you too.